Welcome to the C3PO show. I'm your co-host, Austin Lersten. Over here we got
Corey Sullivan.
coming to you live from LA. Another beautiful day in LA. Welcome. I'm glad you're here with us today. Coming all the way down. Where are you coming from again?
From Santa Maria, but just came from Seattle though. Went back to the motherland and had to come out here and see my boy. You know, it's not a real trip to Seattle if I don't see my guy Austin. So, or fortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately. Fortunately, I got to come down to LA, our second home, to come see my guy and to bring y'all the wide receiver edition of this show, 2017 draft class. Who we got to lead it off with?
We have the guy from UW over across, right in the little bay of Seattle. Coming from UW, just an amazing athlete. There's a special talent. I don't think you'll see someone like him in quite some years. A guy almost like a Deshaun Jackson, where he comes in the league, really a speedster, has some other skills, some other tricks in the bag, but he can really he makes a difference on any football field he's going to stand on. Any team that I think picks John Ross isn't going to be disappointed with what they get. This guy is a route runner, technician. He's got good hands. And just unreal speed, as you can see, by breaking the record at the combine for the 40 at a 4.22.
It's moving. That is moving.
He ran so fast, he pulled up. He had to pull up. That's how fast he was running.
That was his first take.
You know, that's like going so fast you just get a flat tire. You know, it's a way too much burn for the wheels. So that's what you get in a John Ross. What did you see on the highlight tapes, or just watching UW this year, in the last couple of years that you liked out of John Ross?
I mean, John Ross, I'm a Kook fan for life. But when his freshman year, I was like, I love this kid, John Ross. I think that was when he was purely a return man, and you could just see he just had that speed. And the speed is something that you just can't teach. You can teach somebody to run better routes. You can't teach somebody to be a great route runner. Teach somebody to run better routes. You can teach somebody to catch better, different techniques. You can't teach somebody to be faster, and definitely not that fast. CJ2K is a record that a lot of people thought would stand for quite some time, and to break in to get your own island is pretty impressive in and of itself. But for me, I think the most impressive thing is for him to come off of that knee injury and have the season that he did. You look down the list of people that have had knee injuries or any major surgeries. And it usually takes them at least a year, to get back to being comfortable, to get back to working out and being able to compete with people at that level. And John Ross came out and had a great season, led his team to a very unlikely college playoff team. Can't think of anybody that had UW in their prediction as a top 4 team at the end of the year. And John Ross had his team right there with Alabama. And so John Ross went, the Huskies offense went as John Ross went. The year before when they didn't have him, they really struggled. They had a great defense the whole time. Chris Peterson obviously doing a great job out there on the lake. And with John Ross, they were unstoppable, as you saw. The offense was moving. Jake Browning was loads better than he was the year before. Also a year of playing with the offense obviously is going to help him as well. But John Ross was the heart and soul of that offense, and I think at the next level he's going to be an amazing athlete, like you said, Deshaun Jackson light, if you will, and just a speedster, but can also run other routes. He's not just going to be a go route runner like Torrey Smith was for a while. He's going to be able to come in and make some plays and have some nice slants, and I think it's going to be scary how good he is. Another year, if that was his year of rehabbing and being back. It's going to be amazing to see what he can do in the league. And I love John Ross. I think he is ahead of Mike Williams and Corey Davis as the number 1 receiver in this year's draft class.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think I don't know what tape they've been watching, but I think John Ross is definitely a special, unique talent and when you get guys like that, I just feel like you have to just take them. Mm-hmm. You know what you're getting. With the other guys, yeah, they could be dominant or they could be good players, but you're going to get just an AA player with John Ross.
Yeah, and to be honest, how do you cover that? It's there's guys that are fast in the NFL, like we said earlier. If you work out, if you're fast in the NFL, everyone works out and is fast in the NFL. That's how they got that far. But at a 4.22, how do you run side by side to that down the field? You need major help. You're going to back up off of him, and it's going to leave a lot of routes open for him. The playbook is going to be wide open for a guy with the speed like that. And like you said, it's going to be easy for him to just do what he wants, especially as he grows and learns the position in the NFL more. It's going to be scary how good John Ross's potential can be, way ahead of anybody else. With guys may be ahead of him now, but long-term potential, John Ross has these guys by miles. And another guy that I like heading into this draft class, or this NFL draft this next week, is Zay Jones. I don't know how you feel about Zay Jones, but East Carolina Pirates, I believe, and he recently broke a record by his former teammate Justin Hardy, who's also in the NFL, and both of them broke the most receptions in a career. I believe he had 399, one off of breaking the 400 mark, the first ever break the 400 mark. But had a great year, had a great Senior Bowl, standing at 6'2", just a little bit over 200 pounds. Great hands. That's the one thing that I noticed. He always found a way to get open, so obviously a great route runner, and he had great hands. Found the end zone, would have had probably 3 or 4 touchdowns in the Senior Bowl if some balls were put in better places and some calls went his way, but he just stood out head and shoulders above the rest of the field, and he had to. Playing for a team like East Carolina, it's not like you're facing the cream of the crop week after week. So you expect a guy like that to statistically be ahead of the game. Just the same reason Justin Hardy, who also went to Eastern Carolina, broke the record, and the same reason he had close to 400 receptions. They were in a system where they didn't play the top talent, but he produced, and that's what you want. When you're going up against talent that isn't as talented as you are, you want your guy to dominate, and I think that's what he did. And a bigger receiver, stronger, faster, as a 2 or maybe a 3 guy for the Seattle Seahawks is something that they need, and I think Zay Jones fits the bill later on in the middle of the draft. I think could fill a need. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I like Zay Jones. I would definitely, I would say more of like a 4th round pick type of a guy. I think that his talent is above that, so he'll definitely go higher than that. That's why I don't know if the Seahawks that's the best fit for. I think you're taking a risk on a guy like that just because of the competition that's around him. The numbers don't always tell the whole story. With players like that who go to the smaller schools. Especially at the wide receiver position, you can really dominate if you're a good athlete. Like how to work in those systems, like you said. I think he'll be a pretty good player, though. I think not somebody who's going to be like out of the league in 3 years, but maybe someone who will just kind of produce for about 6 years, which is good to have in your system. But not somebody that I want to see us take a high draft pick on.
I understand. I totally agree. I don't think that he's the greatest talent, but he's a guy that I like. A guy that I think it just fits the mold of what we need. I think 6'5" receiver would be nice. A Corey Davis type would be nice, but I don't think that's realistic. I think there's other needs than wide receiver that need to be addressed early on in the draft, and Corey Davis is obviously a guy that's going to go on early in the draft. But I think Zay Jones. Another guy I think that you are getting ready to talk about is another guy that's around that height that could really help us out in the size and strength department for our receiving corps. So who you got for us?
Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster. We're going to Juju on that beat. I think that will be a dance the Seahawks will be doing coming up in this next year. I really like Juju Smith-Schuster, and I think that the Seahawks need a guy like this. Well performer. He comes out and he shows up for the big games. He's had a lot of different quarterbacks that he's had to go through to really get to this point, and through each step, he's been a reliable target, a target you can count in game out, doesn't take any games off, and just all around great performer. Something that the Seahawks really need at the number 2. I think that a guy who is all around great, good at blocking in the run game, and can also do some special things as a receiver. I think Jermaine Kearse has been doing a lot of great things. Was doing some great things in his route trees and stuff like that. But I think he's lost a step. I don't know what's happened with him, but he's no longer where he needs to be. And I think at this point, we need someone who can still run block, but can also make a difference in the passing game. And I think he's a perfect fit with his size and his reliability.
I agree, and I know that people that watch this show think that we may think that we're a little harsh on Jermaine, but at this point in his career, I think that he should have been making those steps to be better. I feel like his progression has not showed that he's 4 or 5 year vet, and like you said, Zay Jones, you had him at 6 years. I think Jermaine is coming up on his expiration date. I don't think that he's gotten a lot better. He's made some big plays. Don't get me wrong; it's a huge plays in Seahawks history, and definitely appreciated for those plays. But the NFL is what have you done for me lately? And Juju is a guy that can step into that role and fill it nicely. He's, like you said, he has great hands, great route runner. But I think the most important thing about Juju is he's well liked. He's a personable guy, if you will. You follow him on Snapchat or Instagram or any social media with the peers in his draft class. And I think that says a lot, not only about him, but also what he can do at the next level and for a team. He went through head coaching changes. Sarkisian went through his thing. Clay Helton was the coach there after that. And then, like you said, went through Kessler and Max Brown and Sam Darnold. Has gone through a lot of changes, and he's been the rock steady guy the whole time. His teammates have been able to rely on him. He's been team captain. He's been a team leader. You see he's always everything he's doing is around football, and it's around guys that are his age or even older and working on his craft. And that's something that I think that the Seahawks, and not only the Seahawks, a lot of NFL teams respect guys that can get along in the locker room. Because you think about it, and it's tough to have individuals. You look at the Percy Harvins and the Dez Bryants, Terrell Owens of the world, and it's not very helpful for guys that are great talents but aren't very helpful in the locker room. So to bring in a guy that I think Juju could be a late first round pick. Obviously there's some other needs that I hate to say I would rather have in the first round for the Seahawks. But if they did draft Juju, I would feel confident that he could produce with that price tag value on him and really add to the locker room. Really bring in that brotherhood, and Doug and all of those guys would embrace him and would be wildly successful, I think. So I really like him. And another guy that I really like is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp out of Eastern Washington. Another guy that has been a baller. If you are outside of the state of Washington and you haven't heard of Cooper Kupp, then you're one of the few, because here in Washington we have a hidden gem. And man, he is amazing. He makes pretty much every catch. I was watching the Senior Bowl because he plays for Eastern Washington University. And obviously, probably not a whole lot of people have heard of that school. Vernon Adams came from there. He's in the CFL now. Hopefully, he makes his way to the NFL. But this isn't about Vernon. It's about Cooper. Cooper was his number one target, and it's everyone's number one target. So, with the visibility that he had at Eastern wasn't very high, so he got invited to the Senior Bowl, and GMs, scouts, everyone was raving about his hands and how he practiced during the week. And in the game, he didn't make very many plays, but the one play he made was a great one-hand catch, and it was everything that he needed to show. He's not going to blaze by you. He didn't have the greatest combine of all time. I think it was like 4.62 speed or something like this. So not great speed, but he's there for hands. He's the go-to guy in third down, those big situations. Cooper Kupp is going to come down with the rock. So if you haven't checked out any Cooper Kupp highlights, definitely check them out. But Austin, what do you think about Cooper Kupp and his availability in this draft class?
Yeah, Cooper Kupp and Zay Jones, kind of similar guys to me, guys who have really proven that they belong in the NFL. They deserve a shot. They've earned everything that they've gotten to this point, and it's just amazing hands. My worry is how well will that translate into the NFL. And I think Cooper Kupp, I actually like Cooper Kupp a little bit more than Zay Jones. I think he has more of a higher potential just because his hands are so good. So you can rely on that one thing, that he's going to catch everything that comes his way. And he makes plays. That's another thing that I like. That's a lot of plays when you're watching some of those highlight tapes and just watching Eastern, because we're in Washington. Sometimes you get to watch a little Eastern Washington football. So a unique position to be able to do that. But yeah, I think Cooper Kupp is a great talent. Maybe a Bobby Ingram type. But my worry would be that's his potential. I see that as the height of his potential, and I want someone more who has as a little bit more at that number 2 position. But if the Seahawks were to take Cooper, yeah,
I think that's a great analysis. I think that guys that
you know,
have a specialty like that, if they just improve their specialty to continue to improve what they are the best at, yeah, nobody can stop them, especially at the next level. There's too many guys that are trying to be well balanced and all around, and with speed like 4.62, you're not breaking any 80-yard touchdowns. Maybe some guys will run into each other and things like that. And I don't doubt Cooper will make a huge play in the NFL, probably his first play in his career. But he's more of the guy that you want to rely on. Third down, who's it going to? Kind of like the Seahawks have right now. It's going to Doug, and Doug's coming down with the ball. Catch of the year. I'm still upset if the NFL is listening, which I know they are. I'm upset that Doug was not in the hands challenge in the Pro Bowl. It doesn't make any sense to have a skills challenge without hands without Doug Baldwin in it. But anyways, that's my end of the rant.
The most reliable hands in the NFL.
I mean, man, you don't even know. But yeah, I think that Cooper Kupp is one of those guys that should be in the conversation as well. Great hands, will be up there with, doesn't drop a ton of passes. I'm sure the sabermetrics guys will be in love with the Cooper Kupp. But yeah, definitely deserves a mid-round selection. I think even in the mid-round selection, he's going to outplay his projection, and whatever team he goes to, fans are going to be excited about what Cooper Kupp has to offer him.
Yeah, so that about wraps it up. Those are all of our receivers. Anything else you want to add for any of those receivers? Who's your favorite? Who do you want us to? Do you see us projecting taking if you had a choice?
I would love to have John Ross. I don't think that.
Would you like to trade up though to get John Ross, like in the position that you'd have to get them in?
No. I mean, I love John Ross. I think John Ross is going to be very successful in the NFL. Probably going to have a great career. Seahawks fans will wish that we got John Ross. I just don't think that we're in a position to get him. With the position that we're in, I think Juju is a solid pick, potentially second-round pick, hopefully first. Hopefully we don't have to spend a first on him, but I think if I see him get drafted in the first round, I won't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I think that about does it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.